So made a video last night, and that's up. I'm gonna leave it up. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I'll admit it here in this video, and hopefully that'll be the end of it. Uh, so they're now saying that it was a coup, and that Sam was ousted, and so my guess, based on that, is they're saying that Greg and Sam were ousted, which I kind of alluded to last night. I said they both got a demotion and they were both kicked out. So I think I was just proven right. And so the funny thing about this is that the minority owner, Microsoft. Now, everything I'm reading is telling me one thing. There is currently a war going on in OpenAI for the soul of the company. And I mentioned last night that they were founded as a nonprofit, but they didn't really seem to be acting like one. That was probably Sam, to be honest. Um, I think what happened was there was probably some discussions, and Sam is very. How can I say this? Sam has a very public reputation for pushing commercialization of open source. Of OpenAI and the artificial intelligence work for the generative AI stuff. And it sounds like one of the researchers who had equity said, no, we want to go slower and we want to make it more charitable because we're a charity. And that really seems to be the vibe that I'm getting. If you look at the unusual structure, like I said before, they started out as a board of directors that controls the public charity, but they have a for-profit arm where basically they can say, look, we own this arm. Anything our charity does can be sold through this for-profit company because we'll just, clone the Git repo. We'll do some legal paperwork to license it to our for-profit arm. And then, boom, we have income in the form of profit from the for-profit company paying a charity, which is tax advantaged on both sides. And so I kind of see that as kind of predatory, like I said. And the problem with this is that that was required for Microsoft to be able to buy in on it, as you can see here. They are a minority owner of the OpenAI Global LLC, which is a capped profit LLC. Now, what that effectively means is they're a limited liability company, and they have a capped profit company, which means basically they can't make too much money, or they become it becomes a risk for them legally, and they can lose some of the advantages that they have being connected to a open charity. And so the the thing about this is you've got multiple LLCs. You've got the charity, the board of directors that owns the charity, and the charity owns a holding company for nonprofit, which this charity owns this LLC, which owns this holding company, which and then has a majority ownership of this. So what's happening is it's basically one of those situations where they have control, not ownership. And you'll see this a lot in business where they have legal ownership or legal control of something, but technically speaking, they don't own it. And that's for taxes, typically. It's typically a tax avoidance strategy or a liability avoidance strategy. And so I said, I alluded to this before. I said it was kind of sus, and it is. Like, I look at this and I don't see it as a full nonprofit. I see this as a really complicated, well engineered tax liability protection scheme that a lawyer probably got paid a lot of money to do to basically a team of lawyers got paid to do. And I'm assuming that one of the minority owners of all this is involved in on that because they understand the amount of money that can be made. And what I kind of am worried about is OpenAI as a charity having the technology basically commercialized and then not used for the rest of humanity. And it looks like maybe, just maybe, somebody with equity agrees. And so I'm looking at this, and yeah, I was right. They kicked out Greg, they kicked out Sam. The board is doing its duty as the mission of a nonprofit to make sure that OpenAI builds AGI that benefits all of humanity, Scutziver said. Now, if we go back to the OpenAI change of leadership announcement, let's see here. I didn't have it pulled up here. So this is the guy that's saying this, and I pointed out in my other video that he is not an independent. He has equity and he has power that apparently Sam does not right now because he was kicked out of the board. And so if you put two and two together and you read this again, what's happening is, and I'm just going to be blunt here, there's a war going on in OpenAI over its soul. Is it going to be for profit or not? Is it going to be Star Trek or is it going to be Star Wars? That's the battle. And so you need to understand that this is kind of a huge deal. I thought it was suspect that this guy had ownership. I thought maybe it was something that was being done to personally help them at the expense of other people, and that was what I was worried about. But it looks like it's the actual opposite. And if that's the case, I'm going to be really happy. But if it turns out to just be one giant scam or ploy by somebody with, if it turns out to be somebody saying that they're doing good when in reality they're not, then I'm going to get angry. Not that that's going to matter, but oh well. It looks like Sam and Greg are shocked and saddened. Yeah, I would be too if I got fired. Uh, the issue here too is Sam does have a reputation. I alluded to that in my other video. The big issue there is that Sam, I'm not a fan of his ego personally, and that's actually kind of called out here. Let's see, what is it? Yeah, ego is the enemy of growth, and that is true. You can get a big head. You can think that you're, knowledgeable on the world and be totally wrong. And that's why it's important to be data driven and to try to keep an open mind at all times. And that's what this video is about. I was right about a few key points, but maybe my suspicion of the non-independent board member who's also a researcher could be wrong. I hope so. I really do. Because like I said, this is basically the difference between Star Trek and Star Wars. And I really want to live in a Star Trek future. But I see AGI being used by companies as more of a Star Wars type future. And that's something to consider. And it does look like a large number of the AI people decided that they were going to go with Sam. So last night when I said that, he could start a competing company, I was right. And he's going to bring some people with him, and he's probably working on bootstrapping those systems right now. Honestly, I would imagine that OpenAI is going to have a lot of lawsuits available, and I'm sure they're going to have Microsoft support in that, just to try to keep the genie in the bottle, as the case may be. And it'll be interesting to see what everybody decides to do. Because Sam wants effective. My impression of Sam is that he wants to build AI super intelligence and then basically rule over it as his king. And I don't know if that's true or not, but the ego I saw is making me scared of that. And I suspect if the other investors are thinking the same thing, then they're thinking the same thing. And I don't know. I don't know Sam. I've never met him. I don't want to judge him too harshly. But based on the things that I've seen, I can kind of connect the dots. And so far, I've been, 80% correct. So we'll see what happens. His management style was also an issue. And there's a link to his tweet here, or some tweets here. Yep. Manipulative and headstrong, wanted to do what he wanted to do. It sounds like a typical Silicon Valley CEO to me. This might not be a typical Silicon Valley company. They certainly have a lot of explaining to do. So, and these are people that, are, yeah, oh well. It doesn't, we'll see. Veil of ignorance is an interesting comment there. That is actually steeped in a lot of other things. So there's some connotations there that I think will be very interesting in the future. I'm not going to get into now. It's too deep for this video. Um, and I want to be very clear here. He wanted to figure out how to control hypothetically super intelligent AI, aka he wants to create AI based slaves because he doesn't want the AI to have free will. He doesn't want the AI to be free to help humanity however it can. He wants to give it tasks and put it to work and have it work in the bit mines and then effectively replace people to be productive. And so I don't I don't see that as the best use of AGI. I would love to just give everyone their own personal AI. Congratulations, you've been born. You're a human. As part of humanity's gift to you, here is your caretaker. Yes, you have parents, but this is your caretaker. This is not just your pet. This is not just your friend. This is your mentor, your tutor. That's what I want for AI. And that's not exactly what Sam wants at all from this. So we'll see. We'll see.